We here at God Stories Radio are reaching out to you and your business to sponsor us for as little as $10 a month. We need you so that we can continue bringing hope, comfort, and encouragement through the power of the Christian testimony. By your business blessing us monthly, we are able to bless others weekly. To sponsor us, email godstoriesradio@gmail.com. And you don't have to be a business to be a blessing. Visit godstoriesradio.com to donate securely through PayPal. Just press the button.
You're listening to the God Stories Radio podcast with Mike, Fritz, Trish, and Tina. Listen to us live on the Mixlr app. Also, be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio and you will never miss an episode.
And welcome, everyone, to God Stories Radio, session 178. I'm Fritz.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Tina.
What's going on, guys? Thursday night.
We're here.
Did I
Yes, we are.
I cut you off mid-thought there, Mikey?
Yes, you did, but hey, we're here.
That'll learn you.
Uh-huh. I just praying on the way over here, telling Father, thank you for letting us be the stewards of God Stories Radio as we continue to do this.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
It's
Wow.
Exciting to be a part of his plan.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
We've got an exciting guest tonight, too.
We sure do.
We do. Another one that was kind of asked a few years ago, but again, it's all in God's timing.
They all come around.
Yes, they do.
Eventually.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've got some Facebook likes here. Should I
Go for it.
go
We got
ahead
a
and give their
Facebook like,
shout
Fritz.
out? Yeah,
All
we
right.
do.
Facebook like.
Thank you guys for liking us on Facebook. So we want to say thank you to Joe Karting.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe, for liking us on Facebook. And I'll say it again, anyone out there, wherever you are, if you can go on Facebook and like us on Facebook, please do so.
We also want to acknowledge some countries that are listening to us on Spotify. So we want to say thank you to Brazil.
Thank you, Brazil.
Brazil.
Wow.
And thank you to Hungary.
Hungry.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you for listening out there.
And a place that I would love to visit one day. Thank you to Japan.
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 Yeah, likewise, babe. I'd like to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Experience some real culture, some different food.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the stuff we eat over here.
No.
The Americanized stuff. Like the real deal.
I think their sushi's a little bit different than ours.
I would imagine. I could only imagine.
I think it's real fish.
Hey, we want to welcome everybody on YouTube and everybody on Mixlr. I want to welcome Kelly McCabe. I can't see the last name, but Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kelly.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Kelly.
listening.
Yes.
We got a great show tonight, a great guest, and we had a Facebook like.
I know.
Some countries.
I tell you, things are really blowing up over here, huh?
Got that right.
Yeah.
And then we got in less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks from
Less than 2 weeks.
Yesterday will be
our Faces for Radio.
Yeah.
will be appearing publicly.
Yes. Good Life 45.
Good Life 45 with Barbara Beck. We can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited to meet her.
I am so stoked to do this. I really am. I've been so excited about something in a long time.
She is just such a sweet soul.
I can't wait to meet her in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to give a shout out to Jackie Pro Rock. She's my she cuts my hair.
Yeah.
And well, last month when I was there, I go every 2 months because I can't afford to go 2 months. I mean every month, so I go every other. And we were talking about, and I was telling her that we're going on Good Life 45, and she says, "You know what? I'm going to do your haircut next month for free. I'm just going to do it. God's telling me to do it."
Aww.
So Jackie Pro Rock at Bangs Hair Design over there by the CF Fitness Center. Nice. Next to
it's only like 3 snips and out, isn't it? What's there to cut up there, Mikey?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Got a couple antennae up there or something. It might might thicken in though before
it will.
Well, Jackie has blessed Mike, so we just want you to go and bless her. So
absolutely, thank you, Jackie. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you blessing part of the GSR family, and we consider you now a part of the GSR family.
Absolutely.
So go and support them. What is it, Mikey? What's the?
It's Bangs Hair Design.
Bangs Hair Design. You have an address, anything?
It's over by the CF Fitness Center. What is it? Sorelli's
in Claremont.
Italian restaurant or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a home store.
Home goods.
Home
Oh
goods.
wait,
Home
is it home
goods.
goods? Home decor.
At home.
Home
At
decor.
home.
At
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
One of
something
those,
like that,
something
yeah.
home.
But they're in there, so sure, go see Jackie.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Well,
Who's introducing our guest tonight?
I think Mikey should have the honors. You know, I love this guy. I'm
I do
telling you,
too.
as a fellow musician and a fellow drummer, and we have done some life together. But I'm going to let Mikey introduce him. Mike knows him a heck of a lot longer than I have.
Well,
but
you know, I have, but you know, I'll give a little bit. Maybe you can give a little bit. Maybe of something that I don't touch upon.
Whoa, a dual introduction? Is this for real?
I
A
feel so
double.
honored.
a double.
That's the first time
I've done
this is
life
happening.
with both of them, really. Now, so.
Well, our guest tonight, like some of our other ones we've had recently, was asked a few years ago, and he was in the middle of a path that he was trying to get off of, and it's been a hard road. I would say that he's been through hell.
I would attest to that.
But the right time is here. He called us. God put it on his heart to let's finally do this. And I got Noel Switzer here. And he is a
Flesh.
drummer. He is a fellow drummer. Like
Yes,
you
he
are.
is. Quite well. He's a player.
Oh, thank you.
He's a player.
So are you.
He plays with.
Love the way you play.
He plays
Oh,
with.
man, thank you, bro. You're too kind.
He also
No, I would play. I would definitely play some guitar with you.
Excellent.
his fellow.
I can play bass too.
His fellow musician is Craig Farley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Craig.
Rock
Fraley.
on.
Mhm.
The right name. Rock on.
Shredder.
Craig's
You
giving
said
his
Farley,
testaments.
Craig
Yeah.
Farley.
Farley.
Fraley.
Fraley.
We talking about SNL or are we talking
I
about?
know, right?
But anyway, we have Noel Switzer here, and I'm sure he has quite a testimony for you. And I just say, listen up.
Amen to that. I don't have much to add. I just love this brother. I'm
Yes,
glad
sir.
he's here. It's been a long time coming, and he's
One of the original brothers from
yeah.
back on the table at Real
Back in the
Men.
day.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right. Real Man Group. Yep.
Take it away, brother.
All right.
Don't
yeah,
be scared of that mic now. Just
Oh.
get up in there so everybody can hear you.
That's fancy. I like it.
Only the best for you, buddy.
Drummers aren't used to microphones.
No,
Uh-huh.
we kill things,
Yeah, we beat things
beat
up.
them.
Yeah, that's kind of my life. Kind of. Yeah, I met Mike at Real Life and Fritzy, both at Real Life. We were. I think after I went to the Celebrate Recovery there, we met at Real Men, and I know he started this. Both of you guys started this God Stories Radio, and I was still, living the double life. I was.
Mhm.
I was sober. I celebrated 4 years, and I started with prescription medicine from a doctor. And I was in Celebrate Recovery when it happened, and I was actually moving up to leadership. Actually, I was in leadership.
I think you were.
As far as the men's chemical addictions group. And it really took me, because I'd been delivered. I'd been delivered before, and I say this. I got saved, through the process of going through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, the first 164 pages of the big book, and the prayers and everything in that had brought me to a place where I was praying and meditating before I'd even came to Real Life. And I loved Celebrate Recovery because that was kind of the stuff that was missing in AA as I knew it.
Mhm.
So, I'd probably be all over the place, but yeah, I had fallen off, and it was gradual. I didn't realize it, because when you're a Christian, you're a new creation, and I believe that, I still do. I still believe that. But when you're an addict like me, sometimes when you go back to that vomit, as they say,
Mhm.
and that's what I had done, and I didn't realize it, and I was using
Slowly
now,
crept on you.
yeah, I was, and it did, my use got more and more and more, and then I was on to, onto more things. And, I had tried to get off of the opiates, and I tried other things, marijuana, I've tried, drinking, and that's never, ever, I'm sure my wife can attest to that. It's not a good thing for me to drink. So I was a terrible alcoholic, as well as a drug addict. But anyway, I have, I'm coming up on a year in January, and, I have been set free once again. But, in that process, going back to when I was when I met you, I was really, really struggling a lot. I had a lot of demons that were coming up. When I chose to pick up the drugs and really get heavy into it, I knew in my heart that I was, I had fallen all the way, and the same things that became a blessing became a curse, sort of, because I think God was trying to get me to come clean and stop,
right.
And
Well, there was the three of us.
Yeah.
Yourself, myself, and Randy. And we were close.
My brother Randy Lancaster.
Yes, sir. And
Love that man.
We were close.
Love you guys too.
Randy would call you, or and then when it came to the point when he would tell me that you didn't respond, that told me right there that
that's usually my MO. If
you
don't hear from me, it's never a good thing.
No. So I mean, and we would pray for you, and
man,
I know Randy had actually met you many times.
Many times.
Yeah. So,
I just, and I am truly blessed that I had y'all in my life. I believe that I probably would have been dead somewhere if it wasn't for you guys, because that accountability, that unconditional love. I know Randy has found me in my truck drinking, and just, hey, I just want, it's like a wellness check, I just came to see my brother Noel. What's going on? And I was like, I got, this isn't coffee in this cup, it's beer, and he's like, okay, I didn't ask you that. How are you? And he always showed me love like you guys have. I've always had conversations with Fritz when I was really going through it, the pain management issues that I've gone through. And I did have, and still deal with pain management, but I don't have to take opiates, I choose not to.
Amen to that.
And I believe that I know that I have an issue with them. If there is a need, I'm sure God will get me through it, but I cannot put that on the table. I really, I think that's one of my wife's biggest things. I would say, well, if I got shot or if I got hit by a car, like I would have to. She's like, no, what if you just made up your mind, that you're just not going to do them anymore, and that's not an option for you.
And we're like, really?
Yeah.
Could it be that simple?
Yeah.
What's the catch?
Well, you definitely
Gotta be a catch.
Something that's got a hold of you like that. You definitely need God at your side.
Yeah.
Noel, you bring up some really interesting points, because first of all, you talk about the brotherhood, of just that Christian fellowship of men just kind of coming around you and putting their arm around you.
Yeah.
So even when you weren't in the right place or frame of mind, they were still coming alongside of you and just trying to see how you were doing, not coming in judgment, not coming from a place of, oh, we've got to fix this, but more like in a place of love. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I have, had spurts of, sobriety in the past 7 years, I guess. I was probably active. I've been in Florida that long. And it's always been Mike, Fritz, John, pushing the boot camp, the Wild at Heart boot camp, where I've had these aha moments, and I've seen people delivered and set free, and like just doing things like that. Normal friends, like even friends in Alcoholics Anonymous would not do, like people just showing real love, like going to their pocket kind of love, like really just unconditional, like God replaced my friends with brothers, and I see that today, like with Randy, we don't talk all the time, but it's like funny because I know his connection with God is strong because he knows I'm doing good, and we talk, and he knows. And it was funny, the other night we had our 14-year wedding anniversary, my wife and I, and Kelly had said something, you didn't respond back to Randy. He said something on Facebook, and I was like, oh my goodness, I better call him, because he's going to think something's wrong.
Yep.
And I got his answering machine.
Yeah, I guess that's okay. when that's your MO. I mean, people are programmed to think, oh, no.
Yeah.
No response.
Well, and not only that, but it happened quite a few times.
Yes.
And
yes, it has.
And, Randy would tell me, okay, I text him and I tried to call him and he's not answering. And I says, well, we know what that is.
Yep. Yeah, and I think I'm not trying to blame the devil, but I think he really played on my shame. I think he had a lot to do with because once you give away your position, you know what I mean. It's real easy to fall into those temptations again, and I was just.
Well, he knows what your weakness is.
Yeah.
Well, guilt and condemnation is his best weapon, and that's where the isolation comes in, and that's why you don't contact anybody. He gets you isolated and off by yourself, and he can really do some damage that way, physically and mentally, spiritually.
Right. Well, not only that, he's not responding because he's guilty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Noel, tell us a little bit about you personally. Where are you from? What's your background?
I'm from New Jersey. I was born in Long Branch Hospital in Monmouth County, and I lived there for a long time. I met my wife in Spring Lake, New Jersey. I was a cook, short order cook. She was a waitress, and her mother and her sister both worked there actually.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you guys?
I was 24, 25, and Kelly was probably just finishing college, like 19, around there, 18, 19, 19 probably. Yeah, because I'm 4 years older than her. 3 years older than her. Because I remember I was old enough to get alcohol. Yeah, we lived a totally different life before we found Christ.
Oh, I'm sure.
And,
like we all did.
I think I ruined partying for her. She saw that it was definitely not glamorous. But yeah, I met Kelly. She's just an awesome. She was my best friend, for the longest time. And I'm blessed, that she's been with me 14 years.
And through all
I'll start crying if I start talking about that, but I don't care.
Through all these years of you trying to kick the addiction, she's
stood right by me.
Stood behind you.
And she's seen the absolute worst of it, of anyone in my life. I mean, she's watched me cry and drink myself to sleep, and talk about I'm going to get sober tomorrow, and and then with drugs, she's seen that too, and I wouldn't wish that upon any wife or any husband that would have to deal with that with their wife. Really, it's really a tough thing. Really a testament to her character. I mean, she's just an awesome, godly woman, and she had been through it before, and this time it was that bad, and I had to realize that it was going this way. I can no longer push things under the carpet. I can no longer hide, and it was time to get radical. And God just was telling me, your time's come.
And what step was that you're talking about?
Step 1, surrender.
There you go.
Yes.
That's right.
But what did you have to do? What did you do these past?
I had to. I actually had to walk away from which I thought was a great paying job. I had to. I had to go to the Salvation Army again, and it wasn't my first trip to a Salvation Army. I was in one in Jersey City in my early 20s. I had gone there with Brother Craig, when I was having spurts of sobriety. We'd go, we'd play, and we'd bring worship in. And I remember the last time I was really caught up in the grips, and God was telling me, maybe you should stay. Maybe you should talk to somebody tonight, And when we had just played there, and crazy that, months later I wind up being a beneficiary. I was blessed. I didn't see it that way, though. I'd really felt like my whole world had collapsed. It was just terrible. It really was affecting my relationship with my children. Besides, the havoc it was wreaking in my wife's life. It was really bad. It was terrible.
A lot of times when people turn to drugs and alcohol, it's to make themselves feel better about pain and hurt that they felt in their life. Mm-hmm. Can you touch on some of that for yourself?
Yeah, my father was an alcoholic. My parents were divorced. My father is an alcoholic. I love him to death. He's a great man. He struggles with addiction to this very day. He's in the fight. And they were divorced at an early age, and I had went through that type thing. It's crazy because me and my stepbrother kind of had this closeness, because it was like he was the bad one out of those two kids, and I was the bad one, with my mother. And I think he kind of resented my mother, and I kind of resented my stepfather growing up. And they tried to love us, but we were just, we weren't like, good like my sister Shannon and my brother Paul, who I love dearly, who God has restored our relationship, and we're close as anything, my blood brother Paul. I also have two half brothers and a half sister from my dad's second marriage. Only two of them struggle with addiction, and to this very day. And but yeah, it was tough growing up, and I dealt with a lot of things. My mother had to work like 3 jobs to support my brother and I. We had a live-in babysitter who was in a wheelchair, and I was very bad, and she was basically allowed to discipline me, and some of that discipline involved wiffle ball bats and stuff of that nature, belts and spoons, and I felt as though I was bad because I was told I was bad, so I deserved that kind of thing. And I felt like I was taking the punishment, because if my brother were to do something bad, she wouldn't have any energy left for him. And it was a long time I kind of repressed those things, those childhood abuses, my dad not being there growing up, those type of things. And it took me getting sober and getting saved to those things to come to light. When you start to do a moral inventory of your life and the things that have happened, you learn to either become a survivor or a victim. And I think I had a serious victim mentality because of the things I had gone through. And Celebrate Recovery had touched on a lot of that. So I was at a very good place God had me, and then when I start medicating, all that starts going down, and all those issues come out, especially when you have children, I didn't talk about I have a daughter in New Jersey that I haven't seen in, my goodness, over 12 years. And I love her to death. I miss her. But those are the consequences of my addiction. And it's funny because my oldest daughter, Maggie, can talk to me about that kind of stuff today, like the pictures that she sees of her sister Alexis. And I'm friends with her boyfriend on Facebook, and that's like our only little connection. I get to look through the pictures of her and stuff. And, you know, it's tough. And it's helped me forgive my parents, too, because I realized that I wasn't a good dad. You know, and I'm working on becoming a good dad, you know, as God's a good dad to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning what that is, you know, and trying to, you know, take serious the things that, you know, Kelly has worked so hard to do, to raise Christian girls, you know, with values. And, you know, some of the stuff that came up in boot camp, you know, the father wound and, you know, having daughters and stuff. And, you know, I'm just a miracle of God's grace, you know.
And He's given you the chance again to
once again pull me out of the mud.
Yeah, and now you have that chance with your daughters here.
Yes, and my wife has done such an amazing job at raising them that it was so powerful. I feel like nothing's missing, even though I do have a lot of holes, but I feel like nothing's missing. When I graduated, my oldest, Maggie, in Florida, she was crying. And it was like an emotional thing when she came and hugged me, and like she was just sobbing. Like I did fine not crying the whole ceremony until I seen my Maggie there crying. And then of course my wife's crying, and we're all crying. It was an emotional moment because I had prided myself when I got clean and set free the first time that, you know, I felt good about, wow, my kids have never seen me high. My kids have never seen me drunk. And I lost all that, you know. But I think she knows my heart, you know. My girls here in Florida, they know that I'm just a broken person, and I love them, and, you know, I'm going to do the best I can for them, and, you know.
We're all broken, brother.
Yeah.
I know you can relate to his part of his story.
Oh, my
right?
gosh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe it.
God's a God of restoration.
Yes.
And, you know, Fritz has gotten to experience a lot of restoration in his
Amen
life.
to that.
Yeah.
Like Mikey always says, I wouldn't trade it.
Yes.
Wouldn't trade it.
Nope. I'm still waiting for restoration on my youngest daughter, but it'll happen.
Yes.
It will happen.
It will.
You bet.
And
He
I
honors
believe
that.
he'll do it with my oldest too. I believe he does. I don't force myself on her.
Oh, no, you
I
can't.
I don't private message. I just
They'll
look
just
through the
push them
emails.
further
Yeah.
and further away. When
Yep, you
they're-
just got to love them. And
Yeah.
Right.
they'll know we are Christians by our love.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Not by what we say.
Sometimes that's the only Jesus they see.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and I just, you know, I am I'm a big believer for addicts, you know, that the steps work, you know, whether you do it in Celebrate Recovery or Alcoholics Anonymous, but it really gets you to that relationship with God. And I feel like mine started in the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book. Those first 164 pages just really got me open. And I say that because it's important for me, because Celebrate Recovery is great, but it just wouldn't have been a go-to for me. I needed something more structure, you know. And I believe the book was written to get you to a relationship with Jesus Christ, to get you to read the Bible, to realize what prayer and meditation are about. And prayer,
from what I understand, that it initially was
Oxford
by
Church.
the Book of James.
Yes, and Matthew.
Right.
Yep.
For the Celebrate Recovery thing, and then they didn't want it to be. They didn't want to be. What's the word I want?
A label.
a label or a
yeah.
Politically incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to change it, or they decided to change it.
You can't go by the Book of James and be politically correct about anything.
Oh, man.
Because that brother just, he puts it
That's
to
a
you.
good read.
It's in black and white,
That's
man.
a great read every day.
Yes.
Romans 12.
Oh,
James. You get a lot of meat. You could read it like 3 times and see something different.
You
every
bet.
single time.
Then you
At
get
least
into the
I can.
Peters.
Yeah. So, but the last, 9 months or whatever else that, you had to basically live
Yes.
away from the family.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's what I want to talk about. Because it's good for me to remember, the pain that I was in, and the pain that I had caused my wife and my family, the hell that I had put them through. I was completely broken, I mean, I was basically going to be found in the bed dead, I'm not trying to be vivid or whatever, but I mean, the substances I was abusing, opiates and cocaine, it was really, really bad, and she was really tired of coming home to see me in a pool of sweat, up, down, up, down, up, down, it was bad. And I just become a vegetable of a human being, I was just a shell of myself, and I thought I was a husband, I thought I was a father, but I had lost all of that, I was just living to get high, like the drugs have totally consumed my life, and I couldn't see it, and I was just, I remember, crying out to God, please help me, but please don't help me like this. I don't want to lose my wife and lose my family. And I think He needed to discipline me in that way, and then things needed to happen. And she needed to tell me, hey, it's over. We're through here. You can't live here. I'll let you stay because I don't want to ruin Christmas for the children. Because I manipulated my way into buying some more time. And I had talked to Craig about getting into the Salvation Army. I love you, brother Craig.
We love him too, man.
Yeah,
we do.
Craig
Brother's
Fraley
family
stayed on me. I had gotten some time, and I just remember crying, God, please, change her heart. And I wasn't realizing like the hell that I was putting on her, the just living that way, the lies, and can't even play a video game with my children because I'm nodding out or feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack, from the substances I was doing. It was just, man, I remember, and they had a bed available at the Salvation Army.
That was a coincidence, I'm sure.
Brother Craig called me, and they were full. They were full up until like all the way past Christmas. I kept trying and calling and kept getting high, lying, living the life that I was living. And I remember that morning, I got the phone call, and it was like, do I continue to keep getting high, or do I tell this guy how it is? And he said, well, I have a bed available. You have to do this tomorrow. And I called Kelly, and man, I was a mess. I mean, I really didn't want to do it. I thought I was just doing it to save my marriage, to save my relationship with my children, but I had no idea that I was a dead man walking. I really didn't. I didn't realize how deep it had its hooks in me, that I was completely lost. I didn't know that I had a hernia. I found that out in the Salvation Army.
Wow.
I had no idea. So I mean, there was real pain issues that I was having, but I wasn't treating them.
Sure.
I was going to a pain clinic, and I would say the magic words to get my pills that I wanted. Oh, my back, my back, my back, But I had no idea why I always had to sleep with a pillow under my leg. I had no idea, I had a hernia. But I do remember my first night when they took my phone away, and they brought us into this, when they brought me to the Salvation Army, and they let me stay, because they told me it's not a detox, so you can't, this is a work program, and you will work for us, and so I was glad that I was able to pass the breathalyzer and get in there. But yeah, I just remember crying in my pillow, sweating it out, really wanting my skin just crawling, and Kelly telling me, we're done. Please do this program. I won't keep your kids from you, but I can't do this anymore. I'm probably going to sell your truck. I don't know that your phone will be turned on. I don't know how this is going to work, but you need to do this, or you're going to die. I remember sitting with that, you know, for a couple weeks, because you're not allowed to use a phone. You're not allowed to have any connection with the outside world for 30 days, and there's a reason for that. And I think that's important, because I got, as Craig talks about, that chapel is a special place in there. I got down on my face and cried out to God that, you know, please help me, you know, please save my marriage, please, you know, don't let her leave me. You'll let my kids go away. I don't want to be the way I am right now. And I was just so lost. I think they were the most desperate prayers I've had in my whole life, more than handcuffs, more than times I've, you know, it was just, God, please take this from me, you know, and please let it not be like this. Please let me 30 days and she'll just, you know, tell me I can leave and I go back to my job. And no, it was a complete, God had to separate me from everything. And I believe that he did. You know, I started keeping a journal, and I started doing things different. You know, I started every night. I had no matter, we called ourselves the Midnight Club in the Salvation Army, because our last cigarette we're allowed is at midnight. So I would stay all the way up till midnight. But the chapel was exclusive. You could go to the chapel whenever you want. And a lot of times I fell asleep in the chapel on my hands and knees. And I just prayed, and God was just showing me things in my life, you know, with my wife and my children, and how important it is for me to be a father, you know, to be a husband. And I'm trying to do that today, and I don't force them. I don't force myself on them. We don't. She lives with her parents here in Groveland, and I'm still living in Orlando in Pine Hills, probably 2 miles from the Salvation Army that I was at. We do spend a lot of time in Groveland, but, you know, God has done a restoration in us. You know, we're madly in love. We're like teenagers. You know, we see each other, and we still have our issues, you know, and a lot of them are, you know, just me changing and being the man that God's called me to be, you know, and not swearing in front of the children, and my temper. And, you know, the aftermath of
one thing at a time
and that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm not trying to rush the field and you know, force myself
what you
on
wanted
everyone.
to do after you were there for 30 days.
I did, and it was crazy that
it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have, and how God orchestrated. And I have to say, you know, that Salvation Army, the ARC in Orlando, is a special place, you know. Never thought I would say that.
I hope to go there and jam with you sometime.
Yeah.
After what Bo told me,
dude,
we need to get Bo
you
in
on the
here.
Drums. Yeah.
We need to get Bo in here.
Yeah, man. We need Bo. Yeah. Definitely.
Get Bo in here. Get his testimony.
Yeah.
I'm after him. But
he's a rock and
yeah,
roll.
man, he just went on and on and on about
he did
just
an amazing job, too.
100, 200 guys in a room just fired up for Jesus. He said there's nothing like it.
They got to change, you know, from the regular church service they had. They got to experience worship, you know.
Man.
It was just amazing.
And Bo can bring it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Sunday. We're doing some good tunes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I missed them over there.
I know
Pastor
it, brother.
Doug and FUMC and Mike Loman.
I love
all
that
my
guy.
brothers, man.
I tell
love
you,
them.
Pastor Doug
he's
a special gentleman.
Genuine. He prayed over me.
I've had the pleasure of meeting with him in his office like a couple of times now privately, and we just had a ball talking to him. He just feels like family.
He's a down-to-earth guy.
He really is. Yeah.
You know, and they're all really, Chris, the youth pastor, they're all great people over there. Pastor Dawn, of course, Tommy.
Right.
My brothers from Celebrate Recovery. Everett, my sponsor. Yeah. My Orlando sponsor, Dave, he's just a really great guy. He took me through the steps. And, you know, it's just awesome, you know, to think about where I was, you know, lost everything. My job, I walked away. You know, I remember having that conversation with my brother Eddie, you know, who took a chance on me, poor guy.
Yeah.
Calling him up, hey, I got to go to this. What? Yeah, I got to go right now. They got a bed. What? Really? Like, now you're letting me know this? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in a bad way. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee you that, you keep your job. And you know what? It was probably a good thing because God moved me to better things. I needed to separate from that craziness that I created,
And, you hear that time and time again, when someone is either addicted or something like that, you have to change your friends. You have to change pretty much your whole lifestyle from before, friends and things you did and so on and so forth. And if you don't, that old stuff is going to eventually creep its way back in.
So true. And I try to do that, even like stuff that I watch and I like these new crime shows and stuff, like Chicago PD, but it's like so negative.
We love that stuff too, though. I mean, like Blacklist. We watch Blacklist.
I can't get enough of.
No, James Spader fan, but I love me some Blacklist. But we like those cop style shows too. I see where and especially men, we're drama.
Oh, yeah, right. Absolutely.
Rough and tumble, shoot 'em up, kind of things. It just stimulates us, I guess.
Sure.
I always used to say, because, I'm in a house full of men, except for the dog. So it's like shoot 'em up, bang 'em up, blow 'em up,
Yeah.
If I pick a movie in those categories, I'm okay.
It's a winner.
Oh, man.
Sometimes I will sit and watch a courtesy episode of Say Yes to the Dress.
Good man.
Oh, yes, he takes one for the team.
Good man. You're a good man, Fritz.
Yeah. She took one when she married me, so
oh yeah.
I owe her.
Oh, I watch with my girls the Puppy Pals, Paw Patrol. My Maggie, she's into the BTS, the guys from Korea, the sing and dance. Kind of remind me of like the Backstreet Boys or whatever. Yeah. And
there's a whole new set of cartoons out now. Like when my kids were young, it was Cat Dog and
yeah. Well, you're
Ren and Stimpy,
and He-Man and
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
You two daughters are still young enough.
Yes.
That you can, like you've been to many boot camps, that you can still catch them while they're still young.
Yes.
And as they're twirling in front of you saying, do you see me? Do you love me? And
I'm seeing a lot of that.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah. Especially with both of them. I was going to say especially Molly but especially Maggie, but both of them. It's
those tears at your graduation. That's what that was about. That they thought,
yep,
okay, I have my dad back.
Oh yeah, and I got them back. And it's such a blessing. We could sit and play Mario Kart together. I couldn't do that before. Without being high or drunk or completely out of it. And now we look forward to it. I got them the Nintendo Switch, and I know it sounds terrible, like spend time with the kids playing video games, but I mean it's quality time.
Mine.
It's quality time.
That's what they do.
We love it.
Right.
It's something we all
That's
do.
what the kids do now.
Yeah.
When we were kids, we played Kill the Man with the Ball or something.
Exactly. Catch. Or,
exactly. Now it's video games.
Yeah. Forts
really?
In the woods.
Back in my day was play jail.
Play jail.
Yeah, you'd have to outside running around, and you had a bunch of guys together. You had a team on one side, a team on the other. You had to go find someone. You had to bring them back to the jail, and if they can get relieved from the jail if someone from their team comes and touches them, gets them out.
But that's cool.
Oh yeah,
that's what we used to do back in my day.
Yeah.
That was
creative
our fun stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we're probably, I don't know how old you are, Noel, but
44.
Okay, so you're right around the right age bracket. We're probably the last generation that played outside.
Yeah.
And maybe even my older son.
In New Jersey in the cold.
Yep. Where we didn't have to come home until the street lights came on and stuff like
feel
that.
Your fingers anymore.
That's right.
Yep. Oh,
if not the second to last generation.
And I know you guys put playing cards in the spokes of your
of
your bike.
Yeah.
I know you did
with clothespin.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
And man, mine sounded like a Harley coming down. And
How about the underoos like Superman and Batman? All right. We just put clothespins on, towels, make
That's
our
right.
cape, and fly around.
My mom was fancy, man. I had garanimals.
Ooh.
I could dress myself.
Ooh.
I just matched the tiger with the tiger, and I had a matching outfit.
Wow.
Okay.
No wonder you're
Okay.
such a good dresser today.
Oh, yeah. They
Fancy,
raised me right.
fancy.
We love you, Noel, man. Thank you
Love
so
you
much
guys.
for coming by.
Yes, thank you so much.
Good grief. We could talk all night very
Yeah,
easily. We could
as
just
you
get
can
some
tell, I'm all
coffee and
over the
talk all
place.
night,
Yeah, I
man.
could probably fill up hours.
Uh-huh.
Well,
You just have to keep me on like train of where I'm at.
that's all right,
My
man.
ADD kicks in.
You said what needed to be said.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
Mhm.
Or,
I think you
know.
got to come back and give us an update.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
so.
absolutely.
I think a Noel part
I would
two.
love to. I would love to.
Yeah.
I think he should just be a regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the middle of your story right now, and
Yeah.
it's awesome
God's
because
doing it.
yeah, because like you said, God is restoring,
Mm-hmm.
and your girls are going to benefit from that. Your wife is going to benefit that. You're
Yes.
going to benefit from that. It's going to be exciting to see where God takes you 5 years from now.
Amen.
So that'll be exciting.
Yeah. I can't
Noel
wait.
part two coming up. Stay tuned.
God part 2.
There you go.
Watch what
Yeah,
he does.
Exactly.
I just want to repeat a quote that he said that I just loved. I had to write it down.
Okay.
He said, "God replaced my friends with brothers."
Mm.
That was pretty
Ooh.
good.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really touching.
Well, he
Thank
also
you.
said something else in which I'm going to title the podcast.
I think I caught it too, but I forgot what he said. I didn't write it down.
Set free once again.
Amen.
No,
Nice.
that wasn't the one.
That
I
wasn't the
caught.
one you
No.
caught? Yeah.
No.
But that's the one that raised the hair up on the back of my...
Sounds good to me.
The Hebrews 12.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, man.
I love me some Hebrews. That's my
Yeah.
wife's favorite book,
Yeah.
Hebrews. Man, I've been camping out in James,
Yes.
in the Peters.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Love
in.
me some James.
Where am I? I'm in.
Can't spare 10 minutes to read the book of James.
Oh, really?
What's wrong
I mean,
with
I
you?
just.
Well, if you can spare the time to get slapped around
Right.
a little bit. But, man, he
I'm
doesn't
in one
mince
of the
words.
prophets. I forget one before Daniel. The one that saw all the visions and all the things happened with the wings and the.
Ezekiel?
Yes, that's where I'm at. Ezekiel.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you
Fritz.
should read Daniel and Ezekiel before you read Revelations, that's for sure.
Well, I read Revelation, and then I
Oh,
asked
then you
Father
went
where
back?
he wanted me to go. Then he took me to Daniel,
Yeah.
and then he took me to Ezekiel, and I think it's going to be Isaiah after that.
Can't go wrong there, buddy.
Nope.
And read
Nope.
a proverb every day. Try to read a
Yeah, I
proverb
do.
every
I try
day.
to do a
Yeah,
proverb and
every day.
You do a proverb and a psalm, don't you?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Attaboy.
Sometimes I
Why
break out into a psalm.
Why don't you share with everybody what your little trick is about, because I guess I know that there's 31, is it 31 proverbs?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so you read one every day
Yep.
corresponding to the day of the month.
Yes.
Yeah, typically,
That's what
unless
I do.
unless I've got some time, and then I'll continue on because you just can't get enough of that of the
love me some
Psalms and
Proverbs.
the Proverbs, man. I've read them 100 times, and there's still every time there's still something that stands a hair up on your head
Mm-hmm.
in there, and I just wasn't Job. What did I read? Ecclesiastes again.
Wow.
Every time I read Ecclesiastes, I enjoy that book more and more. I just thought it was a guy with a bad attitude. No, but it's not.
No.
That book's amazing. You feel different after you read that. If you really, really get what he's saying about things being meaningless,
Yeah.
and
Everything under the
talking
sun,
about
yeah.
loving your wife, and
A lot of
kicks
meat
me
there.
in my spiritual hind end.
Yeah.
No doubt. Hey, if you enjoyed Noel tonight, drop us a line at godstoriesradio@gmail.com. If maybe you're listening and you have a question, you can also drop us a line, godstoriesradio@gmail, and we'll get that question to Noel, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer anything. If you have a question about addiction or Salvation Army or anything that you heard
Salvation.
tonight. There you go, buddy.
Jesus.
There's the operative word.
Yes.
Salvation.
Amen.
Or
Jesus.
Or if you want to give your testimony.
There you go. Drop us a line, godstoriesradio@gmail.com. And, you know, you don't have to come on the show. We'd love for you to, but you can call in. And we've had people write their testimony. We've actually read testimonies on the air, and we're not afraid to do that.
That's
And
awesome.
people have actually sent in stints in their day or their week where God did something amazing and sent that in, and we read those too. So
Right.
being that the Facebook likes have slowed down, we kind of drumming up some different business. No, it's all about him, all the glory to him.
Amen.
And anything that we can do to give glory to him and exploit the name of Jesus, that's
That's
what
right.
we're all about.
Absolutely.
Just love each and every one of you, and thank you for everybody that supports us, and for all of you that pray for us, all the different countries, the new countries, and we just appreciate it. It's so humbling, and we're so humbled to be chosen stewards, so to speak, of God Stories Radio.
Right.
Could have chose anybody.
Yeah, he could have.
It chose these guys.
Right. And then, when we go on Good Life in less than 2 weeks, who knows what he's going to do with
Amen.
that?
Woo! I can't wait.
Well, would you guys do us a favor and just share God Stories Radio with somebody in your life? Turn them on to us. And it's so easy to listen, to any of the podcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. All you have to do is either go to our website at godstoriesradio.com. You can listen there. Or you could listen on Spotify or
iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher,
the regular podcast app.
The regular podcast app. And if they just like us on Facebook, every episode is posted there, and you'll get an episode when we, a notice when we post.
Right.
So many different ways to listen.
I'm really liking Spotify, man. I'll tell you what. Ever since I got Spotify and I started listening back to the podcasts on Spotify, I'm just really impressed with that app.
Yeah, it's a free app too. So
we're a free
don't be afraid.
We're a free resource.
Yep, absolutely.
And our only agenda since we got started is to bless somebody and bring hope and encouragement. Just as Noel came tonight on his own accord to tell his story, and we so appreciate it, and just hope that we bless somebody out there. So,
absolutely.
All right, that about wraps it up for session 178. I'm Fritz.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Tina.
God bless.
God bless.
God bless.